Today, I'll discuss the enemies of Cthulhu, Nyarlathotep, and Lovecraft's bizarre gods, the Elder Gods, and Earth's protectors. Lovecraft himself never actually mentioned the existence of the so-called Elder Gods, also known as Elder Gods. Lovecraft's stories only feature the Great Old Ones, also called the Great Ancients, as races of gods. These would be beings living on Earth-like planets and others. They are worshipped as gods there, like Cthulhu and Hastur, and also the so-called Elder Gods, or Outer Gods, who exist outside the planets or even outside space-time itself, like Nyarlathotep, Elxatoth, and Azathoth. But actually, to be honest, Lovecraft didn't really make a distinction between the Outer Gods and the Great Old Ones. Everything was called a Great Old One. This division occurred due to the Cthulhu role-playing game. Anyway, they're not the topic here. If you want to learn more, I have a Lovecraft playlist on the channel linked in the card and description, and everything you need to know is there. Well, but talking about the gods, elders, or ancients, I'm not exactly sure how to say it. They're never mentioned in the stories. Truly good beings aren't mentioned in Lovecraft. The Outer Gods and the Great Ones aren't necessarily evil. They just don't care about humans, okay? But then why am I talking about the Elder Gods here? Well, that's because Lovecraft isn't just Howard Phillips Lovecraft, but also includes an expanded universe by other authors. These other authors made a lot of use of these gods, elders, and even the beings that Lovecraft himself had already created ended up in this category. And the main author responsible for this is August Derleth, as well as him. Please like, subscribe, share, and hype the video. It really helps me. If you're interested in reading Lovecraft's work, I'll leave a collection in the pinned comment and check it out because it's on sale, okay? It's a limited time offer, so act now. If you want headphones, check them out. You can ditch your headset and avoid hair loss. Continuing. The Elder Gods were a creation of Deleuze himself, who was the first to try to organize what we now know as the Cthulhu myths. He actually invented that name. These gods would theoretically embody cosmic good, contrasting with the ancients as forces of cosmic evil. Deleuze compared this to the biblical story of Satan being cast out of heaven by God. But there's a catch. Deleuze never gave these elder gods much personality or real compassion for humans. They're only really good because, in fact, they fight against the Great Old Ones, who are openly hostile to humanity. According to Deleuze, at the time of the author, there still wasn't a clear separation between the Great Old Ones and the Outer Gods. That happened later due to the Cthulhu role-playing game, which also led to all ancient, seemingly dangerous entities being labeled Great Old Ones. Deleuze said that the Elder Gods were the rulers before the Great Old Ones rebelled, but that never made it clear whether the Great Old Ones were created by the Elder Gods or if they were just part of the same group. But in the first story where they appear, the Great Old Ones are called slaves of the Elder Gods. Deleuze's own idea would end up taking two different paths because of other authors, like Lynn Carter, who decided that the Elder Gods were the true creators of the universe. Although they didn't create humanity by sheer force of will, they would have given rise to Azathoth and Ubusatla among the first Great Old Ones. Brian Lanley, however, maintains the cosmic war idea, but portrays Azathoth as the true creator of everything. One of his characters is horrified to realize that in this case, good would have created evil, a deeply disturbing idea. Lanley barely explores this point. The Elder Gods actually appear for the first time being described as pillars of fire, or light, who live near a star. Called Betelgeuse, which can also be called Alpha Orionis, it's a red giant located about 650 light years from Earth. The brightest star in Orion is among the largest in our galaxy. These stars are so massive that they have a relatively short lifespan, and Betelgeuse is no different. They say it is about 10 million years old, and that probably in creators it does. It's quite an effort. The Elder Gods protect humanity and oppose evil gods such as Cthulhu, Hastur, Zar, and Leogor. These last two, by the way, are the twin Great Old Ones. Apparently, they can also shapeshift, since they can look very much like humans, and they're seen as benevolent beings. Ancient peoples in Egypt, Mesoamerica, and the Mediterranean worship them. Today they are remembered as gods from familiar mythologies like Greek, Norse, Egyptian, Aztec, and others. Zeus, Poseidon, Odin, and Thor would be considered elder gods in an expanded Lovecraft myth. The entire sky glowed with a strange purple light, and within a descending beam stood beings even more bizarre than the Star Warriors. They were massive, twisted columns of purple and white light, moving like giant, nearly blinding flames. These colossal beings. Coming from space, they descended quickly, circling the Song Plateau, and from them came bursts of cutting light aimed at the hidden shelters below. Meanwhile, the earth trembled. One version says, during forgotten ages, even before humans walked the earth, there existed beings known as ancient gods. These beings are considered the ancient lords of the great old ones, like Cthulhu, Yig, and others, while some of the ancient gods have specific forms, like Nodens. Most are described as towering living flames, powerful and terrifying. In ancient texts from the Xanthu tablets, there are records of when Xanthu himself angered the ancient gods by breaking one of the chains that held the entity. This let him see these beings descend to earth. It is said that they reign from the star Glilvo, which is also known as Betelgeuse, from where they observe our planet eternally. The gods fought a massive cosmic war with the great old ones for control of the earth, according to Dr. Volan. The elder gods won, imprisoned the great old ones, and left earth to seal them. The elder gods used stones shaped like five-pointed stars, objects that can also repel the servants of the great old ones. One of the species that serve the elder gods faithfully are the Star Warriors of Orion. Directly across from them are those whose names I may not pronounce correctly. Canans, who are worshippers of Cthulhu of Yggdrasil. They themselves claim that their gods were defeated by beings they called hostile space demons. These same beings, according to them, returned centuries later and caused a catastrophe that sank the ancient continents of Earth. Only the humans who were allied with these space demons would have survived. To this day, it's still unclear if these demons are the ancient gods. Both the demons and ancient gods are blamed for sinking Laia and Cthulhu, regardless of whether they are the true demons. The ancient gods also appear in Rectinity, a book by the so-called Mad Nun Brianna Lethder. In this work, they are portrayed as the good side of the balance, in opposition to the great old ones. She mentions the solar god, called Rectinity, who would be the direct opposite of Cthulhu. I'll discuss him soon. He's essentially a tribute to Brian Lumley and August Derleth, who created the good side of Lovecraft's universe. In addition, the elder gods are the creators of a mysterious golden mead that allowed humans to travel to other star systems through astral projection. The books from the legendary Great Library of Kalino are believed to have been stolen from them. Clyden Colton's hidden records claim both the Earth and Elder gods originated from a nameless dimension where they ruled. There, they created Azathoth and Ubusatla, two entities designed as slaves to produce a servant race, but something got out of control. Ubusatla rebelled by stealing the ancient records, a library of sacred tablets containing the Elder Gods' knowledge, and used them to trigger a cosmic change. As a result, Earth fell from its original plane and began existing in our universe. It didn't take long for the Elder Gods to enter this new universe and establish their influence on the star Betelgeuse. They soon went to war with the great old ones. It was a huge battle. The Elder Gods won, imprisoning their foes on Earth, other planets, or dimensions. After this war, the Elder Gods remained on Earth for a while and even mingled with humans. It is believed that people with psychic abilities are their direct descendants. Eventually, the gods decided humanity was prepared to confront the servants of the great old ones, allowing those ancient horrors to return. Content. Review text for possible shortening. Identify and preserve key information in proper nouns. Maintain original perspective and intent. Shorten the sentence by up to 24%. Ensure correct grammar. Shortened. Satisfied? They left Earth to live in another dimension called Elysia. But the story didn't end with the Necronomicon. A clear prophecy says that when the cycle restarts, the great old ones will break free and the elder gods will return for another war. There are several elder gods, but I'll focus on the main ones. Nodens, also known as the Lord of the Great Abyss, is a deity from Celtic mythology, who was incorporated into the Cthulhu Mythos universe by Lovecraft. In the myths, Nodens lives in the Dreamlands and commands the Night Gaunts, silent-winged creatures that serve him. Over time, authors like Derleth began to treat him as one of the elder gods. Nodens is seen as an ancient god, almost forgotten, but he does not represent chaos and fear. Like many mythic beings, he is much kinder and directly opposes Nyarlathotep, one of the universe's most feared figures. In one story, he helps Randolph Carter and an entity called Singak return to the waking world. Despite his mysterious appearance, Nodens is described as having a gray and impressive form, a presence that commands respect. He would be the lord of the great abyss. In a striking scene, he appears alongside the god of the seas, Neptune, in a procession of tritons and nereids. Nodens arrives riding a huge shell with scalloped edges pulled by dolphins. He reaches out to help the two characters, Thomas and Olney, and helps them both board this sea chariot, and then they set off together toward the infinite ether. In Dreamlands, bas-reliefs can show Nodens as a human with a tentacled beard. In some of these images, he appears hunting winged people with a trident, or sitting on his throne, a cane shell. We also have Bastet, or Bubastes, an ancient Egyptian goddess regarded as a feline deity. The goddess of cats is considered by some legends to be the daughter of the goddess Isis. She is called the queen of all cats. Not just Earth, but also Mars, Saturn, Jupiter, and Uranus. Her name also appears as Bubaste or Ubast, and sometimes she is associated with other Egyptian deities, such as Sekhmet and Mut. But not everything about Bastet is light and feline sweetness. In certain Middle Eastern occult circles, especially among Saracen sorcerers, Bastet is linked to necrophagous entities, being called the devourer of corpses. In these traditions, she rules not just over cats, but also ghouls that feed on the dead. These accounts say a Bastet-worshipping ghoul cult was persecuted in the Middle East and escaped to Cornwall, United Kingdom. They founded a secret temple hidden from the world, where they continued their rituals and dark worship of the goddess. It mentions the tale of the cats of Othar, where the gods take revenge for the cats' deaths. It was Bastet who was responsible for that. That story, by the way, I also have here on the channel. Well, Hypnos, the Greek god of sleep, also appears in the Cthulhu myths, incorporated by T.P. Lovecraft. Though not directly confirmed, it's speculated he's among the elder gods, especially due to his appearance in the story Hypnos. In Greek mythology, Hypnos is the god of sleep. Here he takes on a more curious, more mysterious, and more cosmic role. He appears as a young man with a bearded face, large shining eyes, and a crown of poppies, the classic symbol of deep sleep. In the story, Hypnos accidentally meets a nameless man who becomes his companion. Hypnos gradually teaches his companion about reality's true nature, unveiling realms beyond space, time, and imaginable dimensions. Together, the two embark on a journey beyond everything we know. With each new crossing, they went deeper through levels of existence, into unknown layers of reality. Over time, Hypnos himself becomes convinced that he can become the king of all reality. He leads his friend further until they reach a massive barrier they can't cross. Unlike before, Hypnos' friend gives up, wakes up, returns to reality, and hopes Hypnos will too, but Hypnos pushes on and crosses the final barrier. What he finds there destroys him inside. What he saw in the flute's sound drove him insane. Kitanidi is an ancient god. Created by Brian Lunley, he debuted in 1975 and was later incorporated into the Cthulhu universe. He is Cthulhu's brother and looks almost identical. He is colossal, has a humanoid form, with atrophied bat wings and a head covered in tentacles, like a kind of octopus. The only difference is his deep golden eyes, shining with kindness, which is the opposite of Cthulhu's pure evil. While Cthulhu represents chaos and destruction, Kitanidi represents kindness to everyone in his presence. He leads the elder gods and commands those who oppose both the great old ones and the outer gods. Kitanidi lives in a gigantic crystal palace located in the center of Elysia, the realm of the elder gods. In his battle with the great old ones, Kitanidi summons Titan Skrull, a cosmic traveler lost in the infinite multiverse. Kitanidi, he needed a champion, someone who could fight for him. During this meeting, Kitanidi ends up presenting his assessment. Daughter Tiana and Titus fall in love, and then Kitanidi sends Titus to the land of dreams, a parallel dimension where the great ancients were starting to infiltrate. Kitanidi says he can't go there for unknown reasons. It's a mystery, so he gives the mission to his new ally. While in the land of dreams, Titus faces real dangers. The men of Lane, enigmatic and hostile creatures, and an entity known as Fidelite. He ultimately finds the source and accidentally opens a portal. This could let the Great Old Ones invade the world, bringing potentially devastating consequences for humanity. At this crucial moment, Nyarlathotep, messenger of the Great Old Ones, appears to celebrate the victory, but not for long. Using a dimensional machine from Titus, Kitanidi enters the Dreamlands, overcomes his limitation, and banishes Nyarlathotep and other evil beings with his power. Then, he seals the portal forever, preventing the threat from returning. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to leave a like, subscribe to the channel, share, and hype it up as well. And let me know in the comments what you thought about the Elder Gods. And I'll see you next time. Thanks. See you. Bye.